if at all we harness this solar energy, there are, especially in the rural areas, some of them are not even connected to the national grid. So if we maintain this solar energy, it will also provide an energy sources to rural areas. Then as well, there is need for reform in the tariff plan. This reform should meet the cost of production, should as well provide a viable source to power companies, and as well it should be affordable to consumers. And then also there should be consistent policy and regulatory framework, in the sense that there should be a regulatory framework that will oversee the activity of this power sector and produce an accountable management. Then as well, I will improve the metering system. Some of places are still not using meters, especially when you go to rural areas. You'll find out they are not even using meters. They are not connected to the power supply. So if I assume this seat, I will make sure that the power supply has reached out to local areas. And then finally, I believe that achieving a power supply, a sustainable power supply in Nigeria, will be of benefit to the Nigerian economy and to the welfare of its people, and this can only be achieved if there is proper implementation of all these policies I'm talking about. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Executive Governor of Katsina State. Yes, I am tempted not to ask you a question, but I will do that later. But let me allow her to ask you first.
All right, ma.
Okay. Well, you've touched virtually every part, and I'm very impressed with your presentation.
Thank you, ma.
And I have this question for you.
All right, ma.
Okay. I'm going to ask you the same question. What do you think of the default billing system adopted by NEPA, which was passed down and used?
Ma, can you be more audible, please? Sorry.
I think it's my mic.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Okay. What do you think of the default billing system adopted by NEPA, which was passed down and still used by the new power distribution company? Should it be outlawed or continued?
Well, considering the fact that, as I earlier mentioned, we have a poor power system, and this system that you are talking about, the billing system that the NEPA is currently using, I feel it should be abolished because it has not met the needs of the people. It has not been producing an excellent result.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, in which way?
In a way that if it has produces an excellent result, the power supply will have been more than this, because compare us with other countries, with other African countries like Ghana and Niger. They got sufficient power.
Okay,
much more than
the billing, as in the NEPA billing.
The billing system.
Yes, the billing system of NEPA that has been existing, which has been passed down to now the new power distribution company. You understand? Should it be outlawed or it should continue? That billing system that they're billing everybody on equal rates, as in, should it be outlawed or it should be continued?
It should be outlawed, actually. It should be abolished, because we are actually not on the same classes.
Okay.
Yes, if we consider the charges to be the same with everybody, then that means we are not considerate about the people in the lower income class.
It's okay.
All right, thank you very much, the Executive Governor of Katsina State.
Thank you, sir.
You spoke about tariff plan, which she has answered your question, right?
Yeah.
What will be the role of women regarding to power sector if given the mandate to be the president of the TV reality show?
Okay, the role of women is just common to every sector, because in every sector, if at all there will be good performance, I believe it will yield an excellent result. So as a woman, if I'm given the role to partake in the power sector, I would like to, just as I explained in my speech, I'll look into the policy consistency. Having a consistent policy will make a certain result that power will be stable. We won't be having blackouts like here in Abuja. I don't expect to see blackouts in the Federal Capital Territory of the country, but unfortunately, it's still happening. So, as a woman, if given the mandate to be the president of the country, I'll address this issue by using the renewable energy I just explained.
So, do you think women should go to the field?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Women can go to the field.
Oh,
We have women that are engineers, that are electric engineers.
Okay.
If we have professional women, I think they will even do much more better.
Professional women.
Yes.
They will do better. Well, thank you for being realistic that the women should go to the field, because it has been said that what a man can do,
A woman can do sometimes better.
sometimes better. Okay.
I like that.
I like your
Yeah.
sincerity.
She's
Thank
very
you very
sincere.
much. And
Thank you, sir.
I will give. Yes, you want to ask me questions?
I don't think.
Okay. Now, I will give you an advice. What I'm giving other contestants is you have to work more on your vote, okay, and your social media handles. And you have to rectify what you just told us before, what you said, so that people can start voting for you as soon as possible. And we wish you the best, and we hope to see you in the next stages.
Amen.
All right.
Thank you,
you
sir.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where is he?
has been relegated to a second position as the economic. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. My name is Aliyu Ahmad, the youth governor-elect Kaduna State. I wish to use this opportunity to acknowledge and appreciate the entire people of Kaduna State for their unflinching support, prayers, and advice, especially throughout the just concluded the next youth governorship contest. My victory as the next youth governor is neither by no means a small feat, nor by chance, but a clear justification of your deliberate effort, prayers, support, and the confidence you have reposed in me. We shall work together to build on existing reforms to achieve a more inclusive and sustainable development in our country. My dear countrymen and women, I wish to formally introduce myself as a candidate contesting for the next youth president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria under the platform of the National Youth Progressive Assembly. My dear people of this country, Nigeria today has a population of over 223 million people, which is equivalent to 2.78% of the entire world population. But the center of concern is that more than half of these people are living in a condition approaching misery. Their food is inadequate. Their economic life is primitive and stagnant. They are victim of disease. Their poverty is handicap and a threat to them and to more prosperous areas. My dear people of this country, Nigerians suffer from terrorist attack in the north, militancy in the Niger Delta, communal violence in the Middle Belt, Cold War in the south. If you vote for me as the next youth president, we shall work assiduously to devise a means that will have a clear understanding of social and cultural attributes as the best strategy.
Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we need 7. You want to go?
By 7 at least.
And they say they want, you see this one that came and they are protesting, we have to do their own too.
Yeah.
So that they don't feel bad. So by 8 we should leave here. Please. Temper justice on this. If you want me to escort you, I can escort you. Good? Are you guys okay? You're welcome, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State.
Thank you.
We don't have time on our side. In 5 minutes, can you introduce yourself, your manifesto, and your presentation?
Okay. Thank you very much. My name is Ali Ahmad, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, and I represent the National Youth Progressive Assembly. I will definitely key into my manifesto, which is power. The issue of power has been the interest of every Nigerian, because you cannot solve the problem of power in Nigeria without revisiting the 2013 when the sector was privatized by the federal government. Let me say, was happily privatized because the body was sold while the head is still being maintained by the federal government. Then the federal government in 2013 started issuing licenses to generation companies. Well, under the partial risk agreement, the federal government said, yes, we are going to pay some of the services based on the agreement. The generation companies enters with the private, the generation companies enters with the gas suppliers. The federal government are mostly paying the risk of these generation companies, which leads to mostly making them dependent on the federal government, which increase the infrastructural deficit. So to solve this problem, I have proposed 5 solutions that I think is workable if being implemented. But before then, Nigeria has a total capacity of 13,000 megawatts, which is grossly inadequate considering the population. By 2030, Nigerian energy demand is expected to increase by 30%. So it is very critical that now we should find a solution now. Because given example with Ghana, with 30 million people, they have 2,500 megawatts. South Africa with 60 million people, they have 50 million megawatts. Egypt with 100 million, almost half of Nigerian population, they have 180,000 megawatts. There is need for Nigeria to look into another source of energy, because the source of energy Nigeria is using today is, Nigeria is a party to climate change, which is increasing the carbon emission, which to some certain level is polluting the environment and is leading to ozone layer, is affecting the ozone layer. So if the government, even if they are not willing to privatize the transmission company, there is need for government to concession the sector to allow private investor to manage it, because the grid we are having is old. Even if we have 20,000 megawatts, the grid is not enough to generate more than what it is generating. Then again, the signing of National Electricity Act is another thing which has given the state and local government the ability or the power to generate electricity and sell to people. This should be encouraged, because even as now, only Lagos has gone far in exploiting this opportunity. Another thing is that we should create a massive solar funds in places where we have a lot of output, and think of devise a means that we can distribute the power. Then another is recycle strategy. For example, like a country like Sweden, they are sending only recycle strategy using waste to generate energy. Country like Sweden, they are generating, they are sending only 1% of their waste into landfills, while 52% of their waste they are using it to generate power, and this is housing about 1 million houses, and only 47% is being recycled. Even UK, they are paying $44 to import recycle into their country to generate power. And again, another thing is biomass. Many developed countries has adopted the renewable energy to power houses. For example, country like China, they are generating about 34.1% of their energy from biomass, which is biological materials, which is derived from biological materials. Another thing is we should invest in solar system, especially in the north, which is having a high degree of sun. So this, if we can be able to invest in providing solar, Nigeria, this will increase access to electricity to over 80 million Nigerians. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Executive Governor of Kaduna State. Do you have a question for him?
Yes, sir.
Please do. Under 1 minute.
Okay, if given the mandate as the next president, which source of power will you give as an urgent? Which source of power would you give? Which source of power would you give as an urgent solution in your government?
Well, like I say, recycling strategy, because the waste that is being produced in Abuja alone annually can, if put to good use, is generating about 54,000 watts of electricity, which is enough to power 11 houses. So I believe Nigeria will have a lot of waste that we are not putting into good use. Many countries, just like I gave example with Sweden, they have made this a multi-million dollars industry. They are generating a lot of money in using their waste, because they said one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much once again, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State. How do you intend tackling corruption in the power sector?
Well, this is very simple.
And what approach are you going to use?
Because we are moving into a digital world. So I believe digitizing the system will reduce corruption to minimal. And also I am going to empower judiciary to make sure anybody found with any corrupt activity, we make sure we bring him to book.
All right, thank you very much once again. I'm going to advise you the way I'm advising other contestants is you have to work more on your vote and tag SRTV regarding to your presentations, because these are part of the criteria that the judges are going to use to score you. And we wish you the best, and we hope to see you in the next stage.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Call Imo State. All right, you are welcome, the Executive Governor of Imo State.
Thank you, sir.
Can you please introduce yourself, your manifestos, and your presentation? If you can do that quickly, we are going to appreciate that. Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Good day, my good people of Nigeria. I am Your Excellency, Engineer Julius Chidebere Mado, the Executive Governor of Imo State. I am here to declare my desire for the position of presidency in our dear country, Nigeria. I am running this under the platform of LIMP. If I am given the opportunity to be the president of Nigeria, I have 4 key points.
Sorry, can we know the meaning of your political party?
LIMP.
Okay, can we
Liberating Nigeria, liberating the invertebrate Nigerian people.
Okay, go ahead.
If I am given the opportunity to be the president of this country, I have 4 key points in which I want to work with. 1, security. Security has been a talk of town. Security has been one of the issues that I've been tackling in our dear country today. If by the special grace of God we can tackle security in our country, Nigeria will be a better place. 2, development. Development is one of the great challenges that we are having here in Nigeria. Nigeria is not well developed. If Nigeria is well developed, the poor masses will not be crying. The businessmen, the businesswomen, they will not be crying. Why are they crying? They are crying because their businesses are perishing every day due to bad roads. 3, let's talk about education. Education. Yes, we have a good education in our country, Nigeria. But to me, our education is not at the standard rate. If education is at the standard rate, our politicians, the rich men, will not be flying their children outside the country to go on school. Now, let me ask you a question. How many people from outside the country have fly their children to Nigeria to study? None. 4thly, hospitality. We don't have good hospitals in Nigeria. If there is good hospital in Nigeria, someone cannot be flying from Nigeria to India to go and do transplanting of kidney and the rest. Now, let's go to the point of today, which is power. Now, we're talking about solving the power problems we have in Nigeria, solving Nigerian contemporary power situation. Sure, I will be happy to answer your question about Nigerian power situation. Nigeria has faced a long-standing and complex issue with its power sector, which has been plagued by inadequate supply, power distribution, and high cost. The country has the potential to be one of the largest economic in Africa, but its power sector has been a major hindrance to its growth and development. There are several reasons why Nigerian power situation is contemptible. 1, lack of investment in infrastructure. 2, corruption and mismanagement. 3, lack of policy consistency. 4, limited access to financing. 5, investments in infrastructure. Improve governance and transparency. Policy consistency. Increase access to finances. Energy diversification. Now, if I am meant to tell you more about all this that I have listed here, lack of investment in infrastructure. Nigerian power sector has been under-invested in for decades, resulting in, again, an inadequate infrastructure. This has led to a significant gap between the country, energy demand and supply, leaving many citizens without access to reliable and affordable power. Now, let's talk about corruption and mismanagement. The power sector in Nigeria has been plagued by corruption and mismanagement, with billions of dollars in funds allocated to the sector being diverted or misused. This has led to a lack of accountability and transparency and has discouraged investments in the sector. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, the Executive Governor of Imo State. Do you have a question for him?
Okay, let me ask this question again. Do you think the introduction of meter to every household, industries, hospitals, shops, everywhere, etc. in Nigeria is a way forward to bringing a solution to the power sector in Nigeria? If yes, how? And if no, why?
All right, I'll say yes.
Okay.
Now, saying yes to that question, the reason why I say yes, it will help in a long way if only the power sector, the people who are in charge, will be transparency. Then it will work perfectly.
But are you aware, in the rural areas, the meters are there, but people are now boycotting? Do you know that the meter is just standing there? And I want to believe that on a 100% scale, 80%, if not exaggerating, 80% of the population of Nigerians are the rural area people. So, and if we, the rural area people, are now boycotting the meter, in which way is it now profitable?
Let me answer the question. I will cut it short by letting you know that those who are using the meter and their meter is not being connected, these are the roots of the corruptions we are talking in our country, Nigeria. And such people cannot disconnect their meter without the permission from the power sector. There are people who are working under the power sector and they are conniving in hand with people living in such areas.
All right, the executive governor of Imo State, my concern, you spoke about limitation access of finance. How do you intend to work on that, sir?
All right. Limited access to finance. Many Nigerians, particularly in rural areas, do not have access to the financial energy project, which has limited the growth of the sector.
So how will the finance aspect help an ordinary Nigerian who needs light in his house?
Okay. To that,
or the finance you are talking about, is it to finance the public sector, that's the government, or you are talking about finance that will help the ordinary man who is trying to get light in his house?
Government itself needs to finance the sector. There are things you need to do for the poor masses. There are people who cannot even afford a square of meal for a day. That does not mean that those people, there shouldn't be lights in their areas. Governments need to take good care of those areas. And that is why we, the government, need to hear and listen to the cry of the poor masses.
Sir, thank you very much, the executive governor of Imo State. I will tell you what I've been telling other contestants, and the ones I'm going to tell is to work on your voting, increase your rate of voting, and also tap SRTV in your presentation, because this is part of the criteria that will make you pass through the stage regarding to this contest. And I wish you the best, and also sorry for what has happened, but I wish you the best, and the judges are going to be considered, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. You are welcome, Your Excellency, the Governor of Borno State. In under 5 minutes, can you introduce yourself, a little bit of your manifesto, small of your manifesto, and the presentation for today?
Okay, thank you, my respected judges. Good day, fellow Nigerians. I am His Excellency Muhammad Taha Umar, the Executive Governor of Borno State, candidate or aspirant of the office of the next youth president under the Progressive Movement Party. If given the opportunity to serve as the next president 2023, I will first of all start by uniting our nation as the unity of our country, the unity of our state. It will be our topmost priority because, as the saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall. Nigeria is blessed with more than 200 million population, so if we can unite ourselves, I think we'll go a better way. Next, we will prioritize on our security, reorganize and structure our security. I will also work on our economy, we will also work on our education, and also prioritize on our agriculture. In my manifesto, I will go deeper next time and subsequently, but now I will go straight to the power. The power sector. In Nigeria, we are having issues in our power sector in which it's a very devastating and alarming, for which it requires an urgent attention. This problem is not limited to only the people in the government or any other people. It's limited to all individuals because we, the masses and the elite, we must have a way to find a source of providing energy to ourselves. As we all know, for a country to develop, for a country to be industrialized, the energy sector must be given a priority. Before I move further, let me define what electricity is. Electricity is the movement or continuous flow of electrical charge. So, Nigeria also uses the 3 stages of providing electricity, which is the generation, the transmission, and the distribution. Looking at the generation, Nigeria is generating 13,000 megawatts of electricity, of which Nigeria is generating it has the installation capacity to generate 13,000 megawatts of electricity. But unfortunately, Nigeria is generating 5,000 to 6,000 megawatts, of which is not even more up to 50% of our generation capacity. Why? Because we have about 23 power plants in Nigeria, of which after the 2013 agreement of privatizing the power sector, Nigeria went into agreement with 6 generating companies, of which they are responsible for generating and maintaining our generation. So, how can we improve or manage or solve the problem of our generation? We can improve that by expanding our generation infrastructure for us to be able to generate more so that we meet our demand capacity of the 13,000 megawatts. We can also devise a means of other sources of energy, like the solar energy. We can also use the wind energy. We can also use the nuclear. We can also use the geothermal and biomass. For instance, we know that the northeastern part of the country is blessed with the sun, so we can use the sun there to use our solar system to generate electricity through solar system. The northwest, which comprises of Katsina, Sokoto, and the rest, they are in the Sahara region and they are blessed with wind. We can also try the wind power system. If we move down to the southwest and southeast, we can try our biomass and other sources of generating the electricity. We can also invite other investors so that they will come in who have the financial and technical capacity to generate more electricity for us and to expand our generation system. Next, on our transmission, government is responsible for transmitting our electricity in Nigeria, of which the transmission company of Nigeria is responsible for that. So, but unfortunately, our transmission system is not in the full capacity to transmit. Even if we can generate the 13,000 megawatts, our transmission capacity cannot transmit up to that capacity. Our transmission capacity is around 5 to 6 megawatts of electricity. if we will be able to invite or go into an agreement with other investors, foreign investors or local investors that are willing to come to Nigeria and establish their industries in Nigeria, we can have an agreement with them so that they will come and invest in our transmission, so that we will be able to supply the required and the needed electricity in Nigeria. Also, in terms of the distribution, after the 2013 agreement, Nigeria gave the mandate to 11 distribution companies, of which we are facing some challenges in with these distribution companies, because most of them or some of them went in before coming to establish or coming into the power sector. They acquired some loans from financial institutions like banks and the rest. So these financial institutions, they came into like seizure of some of the distribution companies. This is also a problem in with our distribution sector. We also have a problem in the sense that currently in Nigeria, 3 distribution companies are working perfectly without any other problems that they usually face. So if we are able to invite other investors that have the technical and financial capacity to distribute our electricity, we can also mandate these distribution companies to install meter on our metering system, because in 2018, Nigeria came into sign a law that meters should be provided to customers, so that it will aid in because these distribution companies are responsible for remitting and generating revenue to the government, remitting and to the TCN for the service provided, remitting to the bulk energy for their service, for the energy consumption. So if we be able to install metering system to our customers, this will aid in generating more revenue to the state. And for the distribution also, we can also work with on improving the transmitted electricity, so that the distribution will distribute the adequate and required electricity in Nigeria. Lastly, we will have to, as I mentioned earlier, I will prioritize on unity and patriotism of our dear country. So this patriotism will bring the political will for us to change our narration, so that we will eradicate the corruption base in our power sector, so that Nigeria will enjoy and maintain a stable and constant electricity like other countries. It is very unfortunate for Nigeria to be generating electricity and to be distributing electricity to the neighboring countries like Niger, Benin Republic, and others. But those countries enjoy more electricity than Nigeria. This is quite devastating and not encouraging for a country like Nigeria. If given the opportunity, we will work tirelessly to improve our power sector, so that we can have a stable and constant electricity. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, the Executive Governor of Borno State. You want to ask him a question?
Okay. Well, the Governor of Borno State.
Yes, ma'am.
I was thinking, when I heard Borno, so I was thinking, in Borno State, I happened to be at Borno for quite some time, and I noticed the power sector, as in the distribution of lights there, was inconsistent. At times we get the light where I was staying, that was at Baga Road.
Baga Road, yes.
Yes. At times we get the light twice a week. That was then though, I don't know of now. So I was thinking, what could possibly be the reason behind the power supply, despite the fact that other states like Taraba states, I'm talking about the states I've been to, they are having almost 24 hours lights. What could possibly be the reason that some other states are not enjoying the same benefits as the other states are? And they are all in Nigeria. So what could possibly be the reason?
So, to me, the reasons why some other states don't enjoy electricity supply as others is that there are some, for instance, if we take the case study of Borno, as you mentioned,
Okay.
maybe when you were there is around the time of insurgency. I know Borno had been out of electricity supply for quite a long time.
Okay.
But we thank God now we are enjoying a better electricity. So some of the reason why other states enjoy more electricity than the others, even most of the cases where other states enjoy more electricity, this comes in what you can see in the capital city, in which we have the industrialization and what the high population and other high machineries in the capital city. There is the capital city that usually don't enjoy adequate supply of the electricity, while those in the rural communities, they enjoy more electricity than those within the capital city. So,
oh, really?
yes.
Okay.
Because I can remember vividly, we usually stay in the capital city. If we travel back to our village, you can see that this village, in our village, will be having a constant supply of electricity. Why? Because they don't have what large appliances. They don't have what more equipment, electrical appliances that will what overloading the supply of the electricity. And you know, we have this problem of the transformer. We have limited transformers within some states. So if we have the load capacity that this transformer has to bear is different from the load capacity of this state. So if we be able to have like distribute the load equally, so we'll be having a constant supply of this electricity. Because if there is supply of electricity in a particular state, and this the load in this particular area is more higher than the load in this area, so you can see that this area won't be able to. They will be, for instance, now if we say Borno is given, let's say for instance, 500 watts for today, and Taraba is given 500 watts. But unfortunately, Borno they have higher appliances and what they have less transformers that can combat this and distribute this electricity. So there will be some trippings and the rest. And some of the issues, if from these distribution companies, because they are profit oriented, if the other communities usually don't pay their bills, so they have to service those that pay their bills adequately than those that they don't.
Thank you
pay
very
their bills.
much, the Executive Governor of Borno State. We don't have very much time to spend here. I want to advise you the way I'm advising other candidates, okay? You have to work on your votes. You have to tag your manifestos and your presentations to SRTV social media handles, because these are part of the criteria the judges are going to use to score you. And we wish you the best, and we hope to see you in the next stage.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Okay, you are welcome, the Executive Governor of Adamawa State, right?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Your name is Fanuel.
Fanuel Babali.
Babali,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. We appreciate being brief if you can tell us about yourself, your manifesto, and your presentation.
Okay. Quickly, as I said, my name is Fanuel Tokusam Babali. I'm the Executive Governor from Adamawa State, Nigeria. My manifesto, if I emerge as the winner of the next president reality show, in as much as I want to draft a very big manifesto to impress or to love votes, I want to be so realistic in order not to draft a manifesto that will end up being a utopian manifesto. It is therefore why we draft a manifesto that is youth-centric, and a manifesto that is centered on our youth. We have a roadmap, which is a blueprint, which we intend to work with at the end of the day to achieve this. First on the list is entrepreneurship and skills hubs. What we intend to do in that area is we have a lot of young people who are doing excellently well in the entrepreneurship field, who are very willing and who can volunteer to bring in young minds together to train them in the entrepreneurship field. What we intend to do is to bring young people interested in learning a particular entrepreneurship or a particular skills, then bring these young technocrats to come and train this young mind, because we are aiming at having a prosperous and an independent youth population. Because looking at the current trend in Nigeria, acquiring a job is very hard. So equipping our young persons with a skill or with an entrepreneurship that will give them that self-sufficiency is what we are aiming at. Then secondly, what we intend to do is political education. What we want to do is take a school, one school at a time, especially our young minds coming into the political system come 2027, especially students of SS1, SS2, and SS3. What we do to those young minds is to educate them about the political system, teach them about the political culture of our environment, the good, the bad political culture. Now, understand that when these young minds are fully equipped with this knowledge of their political culture and the good political culture, come 2027, we will have a difference in the political terrain. Not only that, these young minds will be coming with the consciousness that not to repeat similarly what has been the trend in our political system. Then, thirdly, what we also intend to do is to invest in the area of sport and entertainment, because if you look at sport and entertainment, it is one of the areas where largely young persons are occupied as space. Now, what we intend to do is, I come from a state where Adamawa lacks state-of-the-art sporting facility, which one of the things we intend to do if we emerge is to see the possibility of meeting the state government, possibility of meeting initiators or investors to come in and invest in this young mind, which at the end of the day, having the state-of-the-art facilities might lure people that have academy, footballing academy, volleyball academy, and at the end of the day, we have scouters coming from abroad to come and pick these young minds to go and play abroad, which at the end of the day will bring about independence for the young mind and also bring about giving back to the community. Now, quickly, I will just stay on these three. These are three major but not limited. Then back to our presentation. Today we'll be talking about the power sector of Nigeria. Now, the power sector of Nigeria particularly is one of the sectors that is a very important sector in Nigeria, because to some extent, this striving or the progress of the Nigerian economy largely depends on this. Because they said annually Nigeria loses 26.5 billion naira due to power failure in the business sector. They lose 26.5 due to power failure. And the problem we have in that power sector is, now, when you look at it, there is lapses from the government and from the common man, and we'll be looking at it from these two perspectives. Now, the common man does not see the government property as his own. It is why at the end of the day, you see people, issues that we have issues of bypassing. You see a person bypassing. We see lack of commitment towards payment of bills. A person will use power for a particular time. Okay, I've seen a bill of a particular house that for almost 3 years they have not paid bill. So this is the lapses from the common man side. You are using this power, you are supposed to pay for it. Then we have lapses from the government side. These power generating facilities, they are weak, they are old, they are outdated. Government is yet to update or renew or purchase new devices for power transmission. Even though we've seen Nigeria hand over some part of the power sector to the private individuals in 2013. It is fully handed by, apart from the transmission TCN that is handed by the government, the large part of it is being handed. Now, The power sector generates about 8,000, but only transmits 4,000. The highest it has ever transmitted is 5,000, which is barely enough for the country. So what we should be looking at as solutions to these few problems I've mentioned is, first is sensitization and education of the masses. From the end of the masses, what we intend to do is to sensitize them. Now, since we are talking about insufficiency of power, what you are supposed to do is to save cost, save loss. If you are not using power, you off it. If you should take government property as your own, because it is our own. Properties that are close to your house, safeguard it. Do not steal from the transformers. Do not disconnect wires. You should sensitize ourselves. This property is our property, even though it is government owned, we are the government, we put people in power. So it is our property. It is the first step towards achieving that. Then secondly, what we intend to do is from the government side, the government should make an enabling environment in the power sector where we can have investors come in and invest. We have already seen that to some certain extent, there is laxity that they cannot deliver. So we need investors to come and invest in that sector. Then we also need the re-equipping of equipment in that sector, because it is why we end up having low current, blackout, because these equipment are weak and out of date. Then thirdly, the government should draft a plan towards working towards renewable energy. I was reading a Stanbic IBTC project for power solution for Nigeria, a renewable power solution for Nigeria, and they wrote there, they said Nigeria have 26 hours, 2,600 hours of sunlight annually, which if we should invest into solar panel, even if it's one ministry at a time, government-owned ministry, since government have some financial stability to purchase solar for their ministry one step at a time, it can be a long-term goal objective for government, whereby we see this renewable energy end up becoming not just an option, but a cornerstone for our hydropower, not just the ones we generate from water. We also have the windmill, which are also a source of power. We also have the biomass, which I think in 2016, I've seen one of my physics teacher then in back secondary school. He was able to generate gas from, they called it biogas then when he was doing the presentation. And it was from all this decomposed, and he generated it. So if government can invest, this can be a long-term plan. It might not be immediate, but these are things that are even environmental friendly. Our environment will, at the end of the day, will be safe because these are natural. They are from nature, so we have a safe environment. Then, lastly, what we intend to also, what I also see as a solution to the problem of the power sector is the introduction of the enforcement agency to the power sector, because the power sector lacks enforcement agency. It's why you see at the end of the day, the ability for them to acquire the unit for the consumption a particular household or a community has already acquired is very hard, because they do not have this enforcement agency. And you know, there's this mentality, especially with our people, if the authority is not an authority that is high, they tend to, because these people are just coming in normal clothing, casual clothing to collect their money. But if you have an enforcement agency within the power sector, it will promote payment of bills. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The Executive Governor of Adamawa State, do you have a question for
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Babale.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do you think Nigeria should adopt Ghana's policy of collaborating with product and sales company and ask residents to return their energy inefficient refrigerators for modern energy efficient ones at a good discount in order to minimize power consumption and to avoid energy waste? Do you think they should like adopt Ghana's policy regarding that?
Okay. I don't think Nigeria should adopt it, and this is my reason.
Okay.
We have there was a time Nigeria, especially from my side, I witnessed the distribution of prepared meter. As a young person, I love comfort. And if you want comfort, then you should be able to afford for your comfort. This prepared meter you can purchase for the unit that you can consume. So if you want to have a comfort refrigerator, you should be able to pay for it. A prepared meter should be installed in your house, then you pay for the unit you are consuming. Not to discomfort a person. If a person can pay for it, then allow him have access to a comfort refrigerator that he will pay for. So what I expect the Nigerian government to do is, same way they should collaborate with the product providers ensure that every household is wired with a prepaid meter. That way, you pay as you consume. Because if I buy 1,000 naira unit and it expires, or if I exhaust it, I'm done. I have to wait for the next payment.
Okay, this is Ghana's policy. Okay, let's take for instance,
Yes, ma'am.
the refrigerator we are using in Nigeria. Maybe it consumes 360 watts. You understand? So the producers that we are talking about, them collaborating with those producers and sales company, they are able to like produce, or they are able to supply products that, instead of you using 360 watts,
Okay.
the same products,
Yeah.
everything functioning the same,
Yes, ma'am.
they can still produce that same product that will consume 60 watts. That's the Ghana's policy.
Okay.
So I'm asking you if Nigerians should adopt such a policy instead of using a 360 watts consuming fridge to a 60 watts consuming fridge.
Okay, understanding your explanation, I think it's a very, very excellent idea, and I think the Nigerian government should adopt it, since
Okay.
it can deliver same and cost or consume less. Yes, I think it's an excellent idea, and Nigerian government needs to adopt it, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you very much, the Executive Governor of Adamawa. But my question is, how transparent, how accountable will your government be in the area of power sector?
Okay, sir, my administration, especially if I get the chance to become the president of Nigeria, one of the things I look forward to is I am a capitalist, and I believe that every sector should be handed over to a person that can deliver. So I think the remaining sector handed by the government, because ever since the power holding company has been under the government, the highest they were able to generate was 4,000. But handing over to the private sector has recorded the highest, which is 5,143. So looking at that way, if we can completely hand over these things to competent hands, then we do maybe just regulatory functions as the government. It will, because these people are putting their fund into it, and no man will put his fund and not ensure that it produces results. So I think handing over this sector to the private individuals, competent private individuals, is one of the ways we can ensure transparency. What we do as a government is to do oversight functions and regulatory functions. That is my idea, sir.
All right, thank you very much, the Executive Governor, once again, of Adamawa State. I'm going to advise you the way we're advising other candidates is to work more on your voting, okay, and always tag SRTV on regarding to your manifestos and presentation because this is part of the criteria that the judges are going to use, and we wish you the best, and we hope to see you in the next stage.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're welcome, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Awal, right?
Yes, you're welcome, sir.
Okay.
Welcome.
Can you please introduce yourself, your manifesto, and your presentation in few minutes?
Okay, well, my name is Awal Ya'u. Then I did my secondary school in Bauchi, and I'm currently pursuing my BSc at a prestigious University of Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. Well, I'm the executive governor of Lagos State, and I'm running for the office of the President, Federal Republic of Nigeria, under the political party of UPP.
UPP.
UPP. UPP means United People Party. As we all know, unity is a crucial to any nation as whole, because it fosters social cohesion, strength, and stability. When people came together despite differences, it promotes a sense of stability and idealism, and leading to a harmonized society. The way we came together for this program. And unity is enable effective governance, increase in economics, and also the ability to tackle the challenges. So, well, the thing that inspired me to run for this office of the president is that they are always saying that the children are the leaders of tomorrow. Always keep telling that children are the leaders of tomorrow, and the youth are the future leaders of any great nation. But this tomorrow never come. That is why we realize that today is this tomorrow. And you can imagine a big country like Nigeria that has population of more than 226 million citizens. The number one and the most richest country in Africa. And among all these population that we have, 70% of the population are children and the youth. And also talking about the richest country in the Africa, you can still imagine why almost 60% of the citizens are multidimensionally poor. So with these reasons, I would like to be more concerned on youth development, empowerment and youth development, and poverty eradication. Because when we talk about poverty, when you eradicate poverty out of people in any country, it's like you are nearly done with almost 70% of the problem in the country. Because you cannot when you have poverty in the country, you cannot expect to have peace. You cannot expect to have a peaceful environment, because the number of crimes will be much, and anything could happen if there is a poverty in the country. So anything could happen. So that is why my first mission is to eradicate poverty out of people, and youth development and the empowerment. And then on the issue of electricity, and the issue of power in Nigeria is more complex. But according to my own view, it seems very simple. But the engineering that we use, the engineering of our system to, let's say, access the solution to this problem is where most of the problem lies. And let me give you some example. Around 2013, the Saudi Arabia has population of more than almost approximately 33 million people, and they are generating up to 70,000 megawatts of electricity per day. And a plan was built to increase this output to almost 156,000. With the step taken by the government, and the government are so aggressive to achieve this target. So I think this is one of the major things that Nigerians have to do and the government have to do in order to like eradicate the power problem in Nigeria. So there are some key strategies that will be used to implement this, like investment on infrastructure. Talking about investment on infrastructure, like expanding and adding more resources to, let's say, transmission lines, power distribution, and the power plants, and also diversification of energy sources. Like we all know that Nigeria has been so much dependent of hydroelectricity for the past 16 years, for the past so many years, and there is no much, like, let's say, achievement on this, because you can imagine a country that has population of more than 226 million citizens, and the electricity that we are generating per day is not up to 5,000 megawatts. Can you imagine? Among these 5,000 megawatts, there are so much companies that are depend on this, and also government agencies, and also the 226 million citizens, all on this 5,000 megawatts. And we are losing almost nearly 10% during transmission. So I think it's a high time to try solar power and wind power, because there are so much countries that are doing well with wind power. Let's say like China, Brazil, and India. In fact, Denmark currently, they are only dependent on wind power to generate electricity. So why, instead of using electricity to generate wind, why use these winds to generate electricity? Africa, we are so much blessed with solar and the wind, so I think it's the high time to try this. And then government should subsidize the electricity for citizens, for vulnerable citizens to have access with the electricity. And then also we can do international collaboration. So I think with these few briefings of mine,
thank you very much.
I think we are good to go.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Lagos State, do you have a question for him? Under 1 minute.
Okay. Sorry. Okay, what do you think of the default billing system adopted by NEPA, which was passed down to the power distribution company? Should it be outlawed, as in the default billing system? Should it be outlawed, or it should be continued? Should they continue to be billing us, or?
Yes, actually, I cannot say much on this, but there are some strategies that have to be done on this for like better outcome.
Okay.
Okay, Your Excellency, how do you intend tackling corruption when it comes to power sector?
When it comes to power sector, I think, like I have said, we have to like create some, let's say, bodies, some regulatory bodies that will like keep investigating, putting eyes on this matter.
It's all right. Thank you very much once again, Your Excellency, the Governor of Lagos State. I will advise you the way we are advising other people. Work on your voting, which is very, very key, and also work on your. You have to tag your presentation to SRTV social media handle, which is part of the criteria the judges will use for your presentation. Okay? So we wish you the best, and we hope to see you in the next stage.
Thank you, sir.
You are welcome. welcome the Executive Governor of, Youth Governor of Plateau State. Can you please introduce yourself, your manifesto, and your presentation in few minutes, please?
Okay. Good evening, my ABU panel of judges. My name is Comrade Ishaya Benjamin Wang, the Executive Governor of Plateau State, representing. My manifesto are 7-point agenda, which are planting, production, partnership, prevention, politicking, poverty eradication, and what I call the politicking. We all know that food planting is very important because a nation that does not farm will linger in poverty. And also, we will partner, if I happen to be the president, I will partner by giving the right source of income to entrepreneurs, those who have the passion. Without much ado, I will focus on, let me focus on the electricity issue. Now, talking about power, we all know that Nigeria, at a rate of 2021, Nigeria consumed about 3.4 billion megawatts of light, and over 56% of Nigerians have access to light. But then, why do we suffer about light? We suffer about light because of some natural causes. The first one, the natural causes could be due to the rainfall. Then we have the human effort, which is like overloading a transformer. Then the last one is caused by our negligence. So if I happen to be the president, this is what I will do. First and foremost, I will make sure that every money sent is being accountable. And how do I mean by that? By calling the Minister of Work, Minister of Power, both at the state level and at the federal level. And we were able to call in expertise to give us proposals, so that because they are the one carrying the practical, they'll be able to give me a proposal, and that is the proposal I'll be able to use. And secondly, I will also ensure that no illegal connection of electricity is being passed. And thirdly, I will try to ensure that light is being given to every home. Because you will believe with me that if you provide power, if there is light, you will have an economy that is progressing. With these few points of mine, I'm able to convince you.
All right, thank you very much. The Executive Governor of Plateau State, do you have a question for him?
No, sir.
It's okay by you?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I have a question for you. Number one, how do you intend tackling corruption in the power sector? Number two, how do you intend to strengthen the institution? Number three, how will your government be transparent and accountable to such?
Okay. The first question is, how will I be accountable?
How do you intend tackling corruption?
Okay.
In the power sector?
Corruption in the power sector, like I earlier stated, I will call the civil defense. Permit me to say the civil defense work is not solely checking the petroleum. They are also to work in the power sector. But a lot of them are always going to the petroleum sector. So how I intend to tackle them is by calling expertise, those who are good at the work, calling it also the chief of staff, so that they will be able to be accountable. I will make sure everybody is accountable. The reason of creating this subsidiary is to be able to recall if there is any issue. Then the second question.
How do you intend to strengthen the institution?
Okay.
That's the power sector.
I intend to strengthen it by allocating more finance in power. Let me give you this scenario. If you go to a barbing salon that has no light and you try to barb your hair, you will see there's an increment. And the person is not happy about it because he has to increase his price. So I will try to ensure that light is one of like the cheapest source of commodity. When people have light, you will see they will not complain about paying tax. So I will ensure that they are being properly, there's light. Then the last question.
How transparency and accountability.
Transparency and accountability is ensuring that everybody is accountable for the light. In the past, you will go to the NEPA house, sorry, permit me to say the NEPA house, and you find out most of them try to dodge paying of the NEPA bills. I will ensure that nobody is going to be like a law whereby everyone should pay for the usage of electricity, and we'll also have expertise. That's why I say we'll get expertise, even if possible, even if they are foreign bodies, to be able to check the meter, because every meter has like a channel. They have like where they get the total number of watts the unit used. So that is what I will do.
All right, thank you very much, the Executive Governor of Plateau State. I'm going to advise you, based on the advice I've talk to your fellow contestant, is to work more on your vote, and also to work more to tag your presentation and manifesto to SRTV, tag it, because these are part of the criteria the judges are going to use to score you. And we hope to see you in the best. We love your presentation, and we hope to see you in the next stage.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
God bless.
You are welcome, the Executive Governor of Kogi State, Mr. Sani Theophilus Obaje. Can you please introduce yourself, your manifesto, and your presentation in a few minutes?
Good day, Nigerians. My name is Ambassador Sani Theophilus Obaje, the Executive Youth Governor of Kogi State, and an aspirant for the next president under the People's Oriented Party, POP. I envision a Nigeria where there will be social justice, where things will work for everyone, where the child of no one can become somebody, where there will be equity and the rule of law will stand for everyone. I believe over the years, Nigeria has suffered so many problems, starting from every sector, and that has eaten deep into every root of the Nigerian system. When I become president, I hope to address these issues systematically to bring technocrats that could help solve all of the dwindling challenges we have in the Nigerian system as it is. And we can take cue from African countries who are doing so well in terms of different sectors we can bring those lessons from and try to review those experiences based on the Nigerian peculiar system. For my presentation, I want to speak on power today. I want to start with a little story. In 2022, during the ASU strike, I was a student then, and in the ancient city of Ibadan, I was involved in a business with my brother who is into frozen chicken. It stores frozen chicken. And if you remember that year, 2022, the national grid collapsed over 8 times. And it happened that we were not even around, we traveled, and we were thinking power was going to be stable, and everything was left in the freezer. Coming 3 days after, we lost over 500,000. And trust me, till today, my brother has not really gone out from that shock yet. It's not really easy to meet up with everything that has happened. Most of these things are not even coming from a direct investment. There could be loans and all of that. This is one among many scenarios I've witnessed, and many Nigerians want to share their testimonies to on the issue of power in Nigeria. And the issue of power, for me, is systemic. Nigeria has the capacity to generate around 12,500 megawatts of power, but unfortunately, our capacity, what we generate currently, is around 4,000 to 4,500 megawatts of power. It's not even about the generation now. It comes to the transmission and to the distribution. You generate this power, the 4,500 megawatts you are generating is not even being transmitted in that quantum. You know, it gets reduced along the lines, and there are challenges that comes with this. We have problems with all of these things. This distribution has their own challenges. So the issue of metering, you know, the overbilling and all of those stuff have effect on the power sector in Nigeria. In 2013, we had privatization in full force, where we had 6 generating companies and 11 distribution companies being privatized. This is 10 years after, and power has not really become any much of improvement in Nigeria. For me, when I become president, I want to take a cue from what Egypt is doing. Let me give an analogy of what is happening in African countries we have today. Ghana, with a population of 30 million, can generate 2,500 megawatts of electricity. South Africa, with a population of 50 million, can generate about 60,000 megawatts of electricity. Then Egypt, with a population of 100 million, can generate over 180,000 megawatts of electricity. In the last 5 years, Egypt were able to move their production capacity from 20,000 to around 58,000. This does not just happen overnight. It was a long-term project, you know, with partnership with Siemens, Germany, and some European unions that came into their aid. So it was not as though the government funded all of these things. No, they had partnership. That is a direct solution to the power problem we are facing in Nigeria. That's the first one. Now, we can talk about alternative source of energy. For us in Nigeria, we have around 140 power plants. Some of these are using the natural gas, which is abundant in Nigeria. Let me quickly say this. One of the problems we have with generation is the issue of gas flaring, affecting our marine environment, causing air pollution and all of those stuff. Nigeria has abundant natural gas. It may interest you to know that the natural gas we have in Nigeria is so much that it is one of the best eco-friendly gas we have because it has low sulfur, it has low hash, and it can sustain the environment. Going back to the SDG 7, talking about sustainability and trying to bring about power or electrifying communities. So the first challenge has been addressed by having to increase our generation to our capacity to generate power. Alternative source of energy using coal. COP28 just ended in Dubai, and amongst one of those resolutions was that African countries or countries around the world should try to reduce their ability to cause emission of fossil fuels and all of those things. But I think there's a global politics to all of these things. For a country like China, China uses around 39.2 billion tons of coal for their production. Production in China is 10%. I mean, for you to produce in China, you only spend 10% when it comes to power. In Nigeria, we have 40% being used for production. So it means most Nigerian business people will even be discouraged. Businesses are folding up every day. The issue of power has a ripple effect on every sector. I think if you tackle power in Nigeria, you solve almost all the problems. Because imagine companies closing up, indirectly, people are being laid off from their job. It's affecting the whole system, and the economy keeps going down. So what I'll do is try to see what Egypt did differently, try to bring sustainable or alternative source of energy, say coal. We have very, very much abundance of coal in Nigeria. We'll try to harness this thing. Another thing I'll try to do is, one of the issues we notice is the issue of vandalization. That's why we don't have enough distribution eventually, or transmission to the distribution companies. We'll try to see how we can bring surveillance equipment along our pipelines to see that whatever we generate still comes to the distributing companies, through transmission and all. So the whole system will be sanitized. And again, we notice another challenge with the fact that our politicians in Nigeria have businesses that thrive on so many things, importation of generators and all of those things. And as much as possible, they try to limit the efforts being made by government to see that power is a thing of the past. In the 1960s, we generated 1,000 megawatts of electricity. This is 2023, 60, 70 years after, and we are still generating less than 5,000. There's no significant progress if you ask me. So these are the solutions to the problems I've profiled to solving power challenge in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, the Executive Governor of Kogi State, Mr. Sani Theophilus. Do you have a question for him?
Okay, sir. If given the mandate as the next president, which source of power will you give as an urgent solution to your government?
Okay, so for me, I think I'll still go with what we have in Nigeria. We have two major sources of power in Nigeria, and what we use now is thermal energy and natural gas. We have the power plant, the Geregu power plants, using thermal energy. Then we have other power plants in Nigeria who are using natural gas. 80% of what we have in Nigeria comes from natural gas, 20% from thermal energy. So what I will do is also increase our ability to transmit. We have the capacity to generate this power. So how do we now sustain the capacity we have? The capacity is there, but we don't eventually generate the power. So I will say I will still retain what we have in Nigeria and maybe tilt a little towards solar. But I will not really buy the idea of solar because solar is not affordable to a common Nigerian. For me as a president, I feel having to go to the grassroots, meeting the yearnings of a common Nigerian should be my watchword, or should be what I want to fight for. So solar is good, but it's not really affordable for now for most Nigerian homes. So I'll still sustain what we have and try to see how it can be better with the analogy I gave in my premise when I started.
Okay.
All right, the Executive Governor of Kogi State, Mr. Theophilus, under 1 minute, how do you intend tackling corruption, and what approach do you intend using in the power sector?
Okay, so for me, I think corruption is systemic. Every sector of Nigeria is corrupt, unfortunately. And in tackling corruption, I think I want to bring people of like minds. As a Nigerian, I've traveled over 27 states of the country, and I can tell you for sure today that if I'm given the ability or the capacity to lead this country, I can unpick Nigerians from these different states that could help solve all of these issues. The thing is, I don't believe politics is a place to make money. Politics is where you come to serve people, you give back to the community. For we Nigerians, a politician will just wake up and say, I want to go into politics. Politics should not be like a career, if you ask me. You can be into business and want to venture into politics. You've already made up your money and you're already doing so well. So it's for you now to give back to the community. So solving corruption, ultimately, will be that I take off what we have today as the leaders, bring in people that I can vouch for, bring in people of like minds that I've worked with and can help fight all of these things. Technocrats from every part of the country.
All right, thank you very much once more, the Executive Governor of Kogi State. We love your presentation, but I'm going to advise you, based on what we have been advising other of your fellow contestants, is to work more on your voting and also to tag your presentations to SRTV social media handles, because this is part of the criteria the judges are going to use to be able to score you. So we wish you the best, and we wish to see you in the next stage.
Thank you so much. I want to use this opportunity to reach out to my viewers to follow SRTV and keep voting. Thank you. God bless SRTV.
All right, you're welcome. Okay, you're welcome, Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Jigawa State, Mr. Hassan Adamu Abdullahi. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, we want you to briefly tell us about yourself, your manifestos, and your presentation for the day in few minutes.
Good evening, judges. Good evening, Nigeria. My name is Honorable Comrade Hassan Adamu Abdullahi. I'm the Executive Youth Governor of Jigawa State, aspiring to be the next Youth President of Nigeria. If I am the next Youth President of Nigeria, the welfare of the people, the less privileged and the disabled will be my main priority. In Nigeria today, what is disturbing most people is what to eat, shelter, and where to sleep. So I will first focus on humanitarian affairs, support to the less privileged according in all the 36 states we have in Nigeria. I will support them with humanitarian resource, with foodstuff and capital to start off a business. Youth inclusiveness in my government. When I become the next youth president of Nigeria, there will be youth inclusiveness in my government. Youth should not be seen as an instrument that will be used during the election and campaign period. Rather, the youth should be given a chance in governance and administration. The youth still remain the beacon of hope toward the development of our dear country, Nigeria. So the youth should be given a chance to participate in governance, leadership, and administration, not only during campaign period and election. They will be used and dumped. As a youth president, I will work for humility, credibility, competence, good governance, education, youth empowerment, among others, agricultural development. Nigeria, we are one of the top countries that produce crop. So I will enhance agricultural development to make sure we are one of the top in Africa that we in crop productions. Protection of life and properties. As the next president, I will make sure I protect the life and properties of Nigeria, both home and abroad. Wherever Nigerians are, I will ensure they are protected home and away. Power supply. I will make sure that in all the 36 states in Nigeria, there is adequate power supply, both in cities and in our rural areas. These are my manifestation if I emerge the next youth president of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Executive Governor of Jigawa State. Do you have a question for him?
Not really.
Okay. Well, I have to ask you a question. How do you intend tackling corruption in the power sector, and how do you intend strengthening the institution?
The way I will use and tackle corruption in the power sector is to sack the poor management. Management, when you put a management and material and human resource, it produces a good result. So poor management and misconduct, that is what it's leading to corruption. But hiring a technocrat or people that have experience in the field that will make sure everything goes right. These are the steps I will take.
All right, thank you very much, the Executive Governor of Jigawa State.
Yes, sir.
Number one, we want you to work on your voting. Okay, we want you to improve on your voting, and also we want you to tag SRTV, and your followers should follow you on the SRTV social media handles.
Okay, sir.
And we hope and pray that you scale through the next stage, because you really tried in your presentation, and we wish you the best.
Thank you, sir. And God bless SRTV.
All right, thank you.